Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're tuning into this, I'm guessing you're a high achiever. You're driven, you're wildly ambitious, and yet you might know exactly what I mean when I talk about a very specific, very modern kind of exhaustion. I'm talking about that deep burnout, that empty hustle, that awful feeling of running 1,000 miles an hour, but somehow staying in the exact same place, right? Well, today we are completely dismantling that cycle. We're going to walk through a highly effective diagnostic protocol for radical focus.
Because honestly, this is just the reality of the water we're all swimming in right now. We live in a world that is absolutely overflowing with information, endless consumer options, and these constantly shifting cultural metrics telling us exactly what success is supposed to look like. It's literally like waking up to 50 unread emails, a dozen urgent notifications, and, 3 new productivity tools you're supposedly failing to use. Our working memory is just constantly overloaded. And it's not just annoying. It creates this subtle, chronic background static in our lives. It leads directly to massive decision fatigue and, frankly, a lingering existential anxiety. If you're tired, it's because your brain is processing thousands of irrelevant data points every single day before you've even poured your morning coffee.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the absolute power of radical reduction begins by declaring one simple, undeniable truth. Everything else is noise. Think of this concept as your radical heuristic shield. It actually gives you the psychological permission to actively ignore 99% of the things society tells you to worry about, literally. If a conflict, a random worry, or an obligation does not optimize the 3 core areas of your life we're about to cover, you just drop it instantly. You stop overanalyzing it, you treat it as background static.
So here is the structured 4-part system we're decoding today. We've got Pillar 1, Purpose and Agency. Pillar 2, the Multiplier Network. Pillar 3, Hardware Calibration. And finally, we'll wrap it all together with the Daily Diagnostic Protocol. Remember, if an obligation doesn't optimize these pillars, it's gone. Simple as that.
Let's jump right into Pillar 1, Purpose and Agency. This is all about targeting your cognitive and creative output. This first pillar is the core blueprint for your mental and creative energy. It's the engine driving your daily actions. And it brings us to a really brutal diagnostic question. What am I working on and why? Seriously, I want you to sit with that second half for a second. The and why. Because you might know exactly what you're doing, right? You might have your entire day blocked out, down to the minute. But that and why, that is exactly where the self-deception ends. It forces a really hard pause. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is the deep science behind it. Humans are deeply teleological creatures. Think of your brain kind of like a heat-seeking missile. It fundamentally requires a sense of aim and progress just to maintain its neurochemical balance. So this isn't just some abstract feel-good philosophical idea. It is a hard biological requirement. If you are lacking a clear target, your brain literally cannot balance its own chemistry. You absolutely need to know the true aim of your work to function optimally. Otherwise, you're just spinning your tires in the mud. And that exposes a highly toxic default that is so easy to fall into, the empty hustle. You know the drill. Performative busyness, working your tail off solely to satisfy someone else's definition of success. Ask yourself, is your why driven by fear? Is it status chasing? Or maybe it's just plain inertia because, well, it's what you did yesterday. Using this why filter is a direct daily assault on that misalignment. It forces you to confront that empty hustle and shift over to intrinsic conviction instead. That's where you find true aim, true progress, and real alignment. It's all about trading in that frantic, anxious energy of fear for the steady, unstoppable momentum of actual purpose.
Moving confidently right along to Pillar 2, the Multiplier Network. This dictates your long-term behavioral trajectory.
Now, into this second pillar, we have to realize we are not just talking about casual social circles here. We are talking about relationships as systemic multipliers. So apply the formula again. Who am I spending time with and why? Let that uncomfortable reality sink in for a moment. This demands a relentless, almost surgical evaluation of our daily social habits. You might grab coffee with a coworker out of habit, or spend your weekends with certain friends just because it's what you've always done. But when you force yourself to answer that why, the reality of those interactions becomes crystal clear very quickly.
And this brilliantly illustrates what the stakes actually are here, which are defined by something called your allostatic load. Think of allostatic load as the systemic emotional wear and tear on your body. It's like trying to drive a sports car with the emergency brakes slightly engaged. Your social circle doesn't just, influence your mood for an hour or two. It literally dictates this emotional wear and tear, your behavioral baselines, and your long-term trajectory. The people around you are physically and emotionally calibrating your baseline every single day. If they run hot with stress, guess what? You absorb that wear and tear. That why filter completely exposes the trap of passive proximity bias. Are you spending time with people out of lazy habit, low stakes comfort, or worst of all, toxic obligation? You have to recognize that trap so you can make a deliberate choice to surround yourself with a network that actually elevates your baselines. You need people who challenge you, who inspire you, and who force a psychological elevation. Your network is a multiplier, right? You need to be absolutely sure it's multiplying the right things, pushing your potential upward rather than just constantly dragging your energy down.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Pillar 3, hardware calibration. This is the foundational biological layer.
Because the hard, undeniable truth is this: you cannot run an elite psychological or mental operating system on damaged hardware. You just can't. So we have to ask, how well am I treating my body? And why? We're hitting that why again, and it demands ruthless honesty about the foundation of our daily physical routines. Look, we all know we should sleep 8 hours, eat well, and exercise, obviously. But without that deep, intrinsic why anchoring them, those habits will simply crumble the absolute second we're put under stress.
The physiological science here boils down to mitochondrial function, your actual cellular energy production. This is what dictates your emotional baseline before you even swing your legs out of bed in the morning. If your system is highly inflamed and you're chronically sleep-deprived, it's literally like trying to run a supercomputer on a dying AA battery. It's not going to work. Your capability to focus is completely compromised before your day is even started. You're fighting a losing battle at the cellular level, and I promise you, no amount of sheer willpower is going to fix the depleted battery.
So this requires a total paradigm shift. We have to completely abandon superficial aesthetic goals, like just wanting to look good in the mirror for a vacation next month. And we need to shift over to deep operational goals. By asking why, you reframe your entire approach to health. You're not just working out, you are safeguarding your longevity. You are actively protecting your focus and your vital energy so that you can actually execute your life's purpose for decades to come. Your body isn't an ornament, guys. It is the vehicle for your cognitive output. So you have to treat it like the high-performance machine it's meant to be.
Finally, we arrive at the daily diagnostic protocol. This is where we turn all this philosophy into an active, everyday operational tool.
Think of this as your daily executive coaching session, where accountability is just totally non-negotiable. So, the crucial point is exactly how you sequence your morning. Step 1, you wake up. Step 2, you read your 3 core questions. What am I working on? Who am I spending time with? How am I treating my body? Step 3, you answer the why for every single one of them. And only then do you proceed to step 4, which is opening the laptop or checking your phone. This is a high-leverage friction check. It has to happen before the sheer momentum of the world gets a hold of your attention.
Now, if you go through those 3 questions, and you find that you're lacking absolute clarity, or you're missing that intrinsic conviction we talked about, it means your system is compromised. The noise has infiltrated the perimeter. Do not ignore that data. You use it to immediately pivot your choices for the day. You have to correct the course before the day just completely runs away from you. Acknowledge the breach, drop the noise, and reset your aim.
I want to leave you with this final, really provocative thought to chew on. As you wake up tomorrow morning and face the day, ask yourself, is your why driven by true intrinsic conviction, or has the noise already infiltrated your perimeter? Ultimately, the choice of what you focus on is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I challenge you, go reclaim your radical focus tomorrow morning. You've got this.